And now time for The Viewing Room with Adam and Ethan.
Welcome to The Viewing Room. I'm Ethan, and he's Adam. Today, we're going to be talking about Happy Gilmore.
Pretty fun movie, eh?
Pretty good movie. It was released February 16th, 1996. Neither of us were alive.
Nope.
Which is kind of funny.
Have we watched any movies that we were alive for? So first it was
Yes.
Forrest Gump, which was 99.
No, we haven't yet.
And then it was Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Was that 2012? I think that was the only one we were alive
Were we
for.
alive for Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
And then it was Fight Club, which we weren't alive for. Or was it? No, we weren't.
We were not alive for Fight Club, no.
No. And Happy Gilmore, we haven't been alive for either.
Yeah. Yeah, it's strange, actually. We've done a lot of movies that we were not alive for, but most good movies are
Not in our lifetime.
not in our lifetime because we're in the big
unfortunate.
budget studio era. Happy Gilmore was released with a budget of...
Not the big budget studio. We're in the Disney era. Disney owns like three-quarters of the world.
Sorry, my bad.
Just saying.
Happy Gilmore was released with a budget of $12 million, and it grossed 41.2 million USD at the global box office.
You know what always amazes me when you have like a movie that has a budget of $12 million and it's like so successful. Everybody loves it. It's such a good, well, not everybody loves it, but it's, it's such a fun movie, well done movie. And then you have movies where like one actor's salary is like 5 times that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was looking up the other day how much Iron Man was paid for, or Robert Downey Jr. was paid for Iron Man, and it just blew my mind. Like $40 million and stuff like that. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. And
like Adam Sandler is one of the greatest actors. I mean,
in my opinion, I think
he's fantastic, and I mean he's been very successful. So it's crazy that the whole budget for the movie was that little compared to
yeah, and to gross 4 times the amount. It's not
what was
not
it,
an
40,
easy feat.
40 million?
Yeah,
It grossed? Yeah, okay.
So, or 3.5, whatever. I'm not going to do the math. This episode should be called Ethan's Bad Hair Day because that's brutal.
Oh, you hear?
Oh, wait. Let's see. Can I fix this? That ruins continuity. Yeah, no. Now I look racist and weird.
Okay, tell me, Ethan, what does a racist look like?
Me in a hat. The film starred Adam Sandler, Christopher McDonald, Julie, I don't even know what I wrote there. Bowen? Is that how you say it?
I don't know.
Bowen?
Something like that. I think that sounds right.
Julie Bowen, and my favorite, Carl Weathers, who unfortunately, this is a tribute to him today. I think that's what we're going to do.
Sure.
Rest in peace, Carl Weathers. Gone too soon. If they were going to make a sequel, I would have loved to see him in it as like a cameo.
Aren't
Obviously, he died in the movie. I don't know. There's speculation on whether it is happening or not.
I've heard rumors for a couple of years now that they're making something, but
Yeah.
script writing and whatnot.
It would have been interesting to see Carl Weathers make a cameo in like Happy Gilmore's Dreamland sequences, but that obviously won't be happening.
AI. They did it with
yeah.
Carrie-Anne Moss when she died during one of the Star Wars movies. I can't remember. Or not Carrie-Anne Moss.
I was like, what?
No, like, I always get them mixed up. Carrie Fisher. That's
There
it.
you
See,
go.
I get them mixed up because they're the same first name. Anyway.
I was like, what did this guy just say?
See, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, so.
I'll read a synopsis, and then we'll get into some thoughts about the film, and we'll do a little bit of a breakdown. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Let me just...
Do 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 do.
Okay.
Do 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 do.
All Happy Gilmore, played by Adam Sandler, has ever wanted is to be a professional hockey player. But soon discovers he may actually have a talent for playing an entirely different sport, golf. When his grandmother, played by Frances Bay, learns she's about to lose her home, Happy joins a golf tournament to try and win enough money to buy it for her. With his powerful driving skills and foul-mouthed attitude, Happy becomes an unlikely golf hero much to the chagrin of the well-mannered golf professionals. Wow, that's a hard sentence to get out. Yeah, that's a little synopsis for us. Basically, his grandma's house is being foreclosed. She owes
$270,000.
$270,000 to the IRS, and that's not a great thing.
Not a great financial position.
Pretty savage granny, actually. But Happy Gilmore decides to go on a quest to free his grandmother from the nursing home she's in by repurchasing the house.
You know what I was just thinking about? They could make a whole sequel movie, a whole spin-off on her grandma's adventures in the nursing home. Because, you know, that guy, like the carrier or whatever, who's like, you know,
Ben
forcing them
Stiller.
to do manual labor and whatever, like they could totally make a spin-off of that.
Yeah, no, they definitely could. Interesting fact, I think I was reading this. Huey Halloween, Adam Sandler's movie that came out 2 years ago, Ben Stiller reprised his role as the caretaker.
Oh.
And in the credits of that movie, Ben Stiller isn't even credited as the caretaker. He's not credited as anyone.
Huh.
Yeah, fantastic cameo. Everyone loves it. Like
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah.
Can I have a glass of milk? You can. What does he say? Trouble me for a glass of shut the hell up. Or
Yeah,
something
that's it,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ben Stiller isn't credited in that, so it's funny.
That's unfortunate.
You kind of mentioned that. I don't know. I don't know the story behind that. Maybe he didn't want to be because it was so vulgar or something. But, or maybe they just. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if he did it for free. I don't know if he was paid. I know none of these things. Speaking of which, Adam Sandler won, he was nominated for a Razzie Award for this film as the worst actor of the year, which I find hilarious because I thought Adam
the fact
Sandler
that
had
they
a
even
great
have an
performance.
award for that is what I find hilarious.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. Let's get into a plot. How about that?
Sure.
All right. Do you want to start with the plot?
We already summarized it. There's not a lot more to say.
We already summarized it. Of the whole plot? Like a breakdown of the plot.
Why do you always make me do the plot? I suck at this part. Every time
I
we're
can
like,
do the
you're never
plot.
doing that again.
I can do the. Why? Let's just take team. You want me to start?
Sure. You start. I'll chime in as I see fit.
Okay. So our movie starts with Happy Gilmore explaining where he is and what he likes to do to the tune of Tuesday's Gone by Leonard Skinner, one of my favorite songs right now, actually. And he's talking about how he has this love of hockey and this affection for it. And his dad was a great dad to him growing up. And they went to all the hockey games. And unfortunately, his dad's killed by a rogue puck.
That's
And,
shot by Happy.
What?
It's shot by Happy.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's when they show his
yeah.
like exceptional slap shot.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Shot by Happy. Sorry. And so Happy is kind of forced to move with his grandma, who likes Gene Simmons, oddly enough, and he chases the hockey stuff for his whole life as he grows up and moves out. And he's not very good. He has a great slap shot, but he's a terrible skater, and his temper just destroys his career, right? So he goes through, and one day he realizes that he can shoot a golf ball really far because of his incredible slap
Skip over a
shot.
very important plot point.
Well, I'll get to that. I'm just
Hold on.
segueing.
You skipped something.
I'm segueing.
No, you skipped something.
I'm segueing into what I skipped. Trust me. I got this. So he finds out by going to his grandma's house one day and realizing it's being repossessed by the IRS because she owes.
$270,000, but you still skipped something.
What did I skip?
You forgot about all the different jobs that he worked.
Oh, that's not important.
Yeah, it totally is. It's one of the funniest jokes in the movie.
I mean, yeah. If you want to talk about that, you can. If you want to talk about it, you can. Yeah.
No, I just had to make sure you didn't forget about it.
No. I saw some horrible things in that theater. No, so he finds out his grandma's house is being repossessed, and he bets one of the workers that he can drive the ball farther than he can. And he does twice in a row. Committing manslaughter, I'm pretty sure, actually. He knocks the lady off a balcony, so I don't know the legal.
I was going to say, I don't know about manslaughter. He just hit them.
She fell pretty hard.
But she fell, so... yeah.
Attempted murder, maybe. I don't know. Criminal negligence. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Continuing on, he decides to make some money. He's just going to stand at the driving range and have competitions to see who can outdrive him. So basically, he'll charge like $20 a pop, and
Well, he's betting.
yeah, he's essentially betting, right?
Yeah.
And so if you outdrive him, you get the money. If he outdrives you, the money's gone. Carl Weathers, who plays Chubbs, sees this, and he's a pro golfer, former pro golfer, and he notices that Happy's got some talent and one of the longest drives he's ever seen. So he approaches Happy to see if he could train him for free to basically get him to be a pro golfer, because he would be legendary. Happy denies this. He says he's a hockey player, and he doesn't really have time for the whole golf thing because he's trying to make enough money to pay his grandma's house back. Happy kind of leaves, and then Chubbs tells him that basically there's actually a lot of money to be played in golf and win for. So Happy decides that maybe he's interested after all. What do you think?
Yeah, but yeah, I guess. Doesn't he like try and do it before? How does that go? No, you're right. Because then when he realizes there's so much money, that's when he's like, all right, let's do this.
He reverses the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's where the things get foggy. Anyways, so he goes and starts playing golf at some of the opens, and he's not very good. He can hit the ball. He can hit the ball really far, but
His short game needs some work.
yeah, his short game needs some work. He does an incredible hole-in-one on a par 4.
Par 4, yeah.
And it's the talk of the town, really. And he actually gets to join the pro league. Is that what it's called?
It's the pro tour.
The pro tour. There we go.
Yeah.
He gets to join the pro tour as a result of his golf. And Chubbs basically tells him that he should deny the invitation to join the pro tour to get his skills up, and then join the pro tour and be just an absolute legend. Happy explains to Chubbs that he doesn't have the time for that because he doesn't want his grandma's house repossessed, and so he heads on to the pro tour, where he learns a lot about golf. We see a lot of swearing. There's a fight with Bob Barker in there.
Yep.
And he starts to fall in love with his PR manager.
Yep. Now we got to mention this interesting fact about Bob Barker. He was neighbors with Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
And so that was him doing those fights. He was a real world black belt and had trained in a couple different martial arts, and apparently did all of his own stunts. I don't know 100% sure about that. I mean, especially that one where they roll down the hill, that would be hard for him to do. I feel, especially at that age. But hey, if he did it, the more power to him.
Well, I did read that the two stipulations he had were that he has to win the fight,
Yeah, he has to
and
win.
that also he was going to do his own stunts. He didn't want a body double, so
Yeah.
he wanted to prove that he could actually fight. So that's what I read. I do think I think it probably is true. And anyways, the fight did win an MTV movie award for I guess whatever award you'd call it for the
Yeah.
best fight scene of the year, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A fight scene in an Adam Sandler movie won at the MTV Movie Awards, so that's cool. Going through, there's this guy called Shooter McGavin. Shooter is an a-hole for sure.
He's a bit stuck up.
Yeah, and I think they did a really good job, Christopher McDonald, because he makes me want to punch him.
Yep.
Like, I'm like sitting there in the movie theater, and I'm like,
Okay, but hold on for a second. Do you think he's not justified to be not to be an a-hole, but to be at least a little bit annoyed when it's like, as he says, I've trained my entire life to be a pro golfer. I've paid my dues. And then this buffoon comes along
sure.
and is all of a sudden better than you on the long game, at least. I would be so pissed. Now, I'm not saying that gives him the right to be an asshole, but I mean, like,
I would say just because your life isn't fair doesn't mean you have the right to knock down other people's opportunities. You know what I mean?
I agree. I'm not like I said, I'm not saying that gives him the right to be
No, for
an
sure.
a-hole and whatnot. But I'm just saying, like, there is, like, I feel a little bit of sympathy for him in a way. If he wasn't as much of an asshole I really would, you know.
Right. He obviously wants it, and I mean, you could argue he probably doesn't need it as much. You can tell he's kind of
He's
off
well off.
already, and Happy really needs the money because it's for his grandma's house. And I think all sympathy for Shooter goes away when he buys the house from
Yeah.
Happy at an extremely high rate, and it's like, or sorry, from the government.
Well,
just
even
to
before
taunt-
even
just to
before
taunt
that,
Happy.
even before that, when he hires his friend to come and you know,
Well, you could make the argument that he's worked his whole life for this. It's his turn for the golden jack and all that stuff. It's just you can't live your life in such a way where you're so afraid of being in the back seat that you are willing to sacrifice everything just because someone's a little bit better than you, even if you don't think they've earned it.
Yeah.
You can't throw away everything that you've earned because of that, right? And I think that's what he does, right? He obviously he gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
But going through, you pick up.
Where did we leave off?
Talking about the entrance of Shooter McGavin into this, he's joined the Pro Tour.
Oh yeah, so he hires the dude to harass Happy while he's trying to golf, and that's the game where Happy kind of falls off the rails, and then they keep going back and forth. You know, there's a lot of golf scenes in this. I will say that especially in that point of the movie where it's just the two of them fighting, there's a lot of back and forth. It's just straight up golf scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes back to when it comes down to like the final game, he's like, oh, I could actually win this. And so he goes back to Chubbs, and he's like, I need you to train me on my short game. So they go to like a carnival mini golf, and all of a sudden he's amazing at it. And then he kills Chubbs by accident because he went and got the alligator. And Chubbs got all scared and fell out backwards out of a window, which reminds me, have you seen the music video from Twisted Sister, We're Not Gonna Take It?
No.
Oh, there's a scene where where he transforms like from the teenager into like full Twisted Sister makeup, and then their dad just like goes falling out of a window, and anyway, that's what that reminded me of.
Yeah, I gotta say,
Little side note.
The two things like to touch up on is Happy Gilmore has very poor anger management because of his hockey days and stuff like that, and so the people at the Pro Tour basically tell him that he's kicked off if he keeps acting the way he is, all angry and stuff. And then Chubbs is also one-handed because while he was playing golf, an alligator bit his hand off. And so when he falls out the window scared of an alligator, it's because Happy Gilmore brought the head of the alligator into the room. And what a conveniently open window, too.
I know, right?
Yeah. And I think also an incredible filmmaking moment, too, where you don't see anything. You see him fall out the window, right? But you don't see him land on the ground. But you hear him fall. Like, I think a guy screams.
Yeah.
And then you hear, like, the sound of the wooden hand clacking on the ground as it bounces away. And then it cuts to the guy on the street who yells, right? And he just looks up and he's like,
yes.
and then it cuts to the funeral scene, and it's like his funeral, and it's like, man, that was pretty creative filmmaking, especially with the hand bouncing across the ground, right? So obviously his mentor's dead, and Happy has to figure out how can he win his house back from his grandma now that his skills are improved, but he's lost a huge part of his skill level and his mentor. You want to pick up?
Yep, that's great job you're doing there. Keep going. I wouldn't want to interrupt your flow.
You really don't want to do it?
No, I suck at this part.
I'm just trying to see how we can make it not too long. Okay. To summarize, Happy Gilmore plays on the final round of the Waterbury Open. Is that what it's called?
No, that was the very first Open that he played in. This is the Pro Tour.
Oh,
this is to win the Pro Tour. Yeah.
That's my bad. Whoopsie.
How many times have you seen this movie and you still haven't got the golf tournament name right?
I don't pay attention to that. I pay attention to like the cool things. Anyways, what's it called? I can't be doing this.
The Pro Tour.
No, it's the final game.
I don't remember where it is. Okay, hurry up. I've exhausted
Pro
my...
Championship is what it says.
It's the Pro Tour.
Tour Championship.
It's the Pro Tour. Anyway, moving on. He wins with an incredible putt
Let's not do it.
that is reminiscent of...
There's a little more. Let's break it down just like 2 more seconds. Can I trust you with this?
what else is there to break down?
You get hit by a car. Okay. Shooter McGavin pays a man,
Same guy from before.
same guy from before, to basically wipe out Happy Gilmore so that he can win the golden jacket and be the hero. They hit Happy Gilmore with the car, and Happy Gilmore continues to play, but he can't. His long game isn't as good, so he has to rely on his short game. So using the skills that he and Chubbs learned the day before, or however earlier it was, they basically have to win in the short game, and yeah, he does pretty well. He gets it down. He starts losing, but he gets back up there, and it's a tie in the final round. Now, the car hit like a little video tower there for like, the arena and or the course, I guess I should say, and it fell in front of the hole. So Happy has to play it where it lays.
Play it where it lies.
Play it where it lies. Yeah, I got it. It was whatever. And so he does, and miraculously he manages to make it in under par, and he beats Shooter, so they don't have to go to overtime.
Sudden death.
Sudden death, like whatever. And yeah.
But see, like it's like, you know, when they go to the mini golf and the first shot he makes is like bouncing off a bunch of crap, you know, when he's with Chubbs, and it's the same thing on that final round. He bounces off about 7 things, you know, like one of those Goldberg machines or whatever they're called.
Right. And I should say I don't know much about golf, so I've played mini golf at Markham Mall 4 times. But other than that, I am not a golf aficionado, so I'm sorry for the butchering of all of that.
I have a pretty elementary knowledge of golf.
Let's talk about this. Why don't you tell me things you like and dislike? Why don't we?
I mean, I just think it's a fun movie, right? Like we've talked about this in the past couple episodes. Like I think especially with Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we talked about like there's like movies that are like they have a point and they're trying to get something across and they're very in depth and you got to analyze it and really think about it. You can watch it a whole bunch of times and everything. But this is just a fun movie. It's like check your brain at the door, right? It's you know, it's just fun. And I think like when I'm reading whatnot and all the critics are like, you know, it's terrible and it's for 13-year-olds and it's just, you know, and it's like, so what? It's funny. You know, and not every movie has to be all serious and trying to prove a point. Like, let's just sit down and, you know, enjoy ourselves, watch somebody swear and get mad. Like, it's hilarious because, like, you know, like, from the perspective, like, you know, I played hockey and whatnot. It's like, I'm used to the, you know, the crowd and everybody's yelling and, you know, there's that energy. And then I watch golf and it's like, oh my God, this is the most boring thing ever. People are just, you know, walking around and, you know, they're just a little clapping and, you know, yes, you know, it's very, it's a rich people sport, right? And it all seems very stuck up. And I'm not saying that's the way it is. It's just that's the way it's perceived a lot of the time. And so to see like a not rich stuck up person go in there and just kind of call them out on it, like, you know, why can't we cheer? And, you know, and like,
have some brewskis on the course.
Exactly, right? And like
fun,
when they show the scenes in like the parking lot where it's like, you know, the rich guy getting into his Lambo and right beside it it's this, you know, there's these guys just having like a tailgate party and it's like why not, you know?
Yeah, no. And people look on and like they're disgraced by it in the actual show, but you know, I do think it's like a unique approach onto the whole golf scene, right? And maybe the people who don't like this film are huge golf aficionados.
They must be.
But like, I did hear there's a lot of lack of attention to detail, and it was inaccurate. But, I mean, this is a guy who every shot he hits flies over 400 yards.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be accurate. Well, and like, I mean, they even pointed out in, like, it's central to the plot point, and they're like, you need to get rid of him. He's a disgrace to the sport. Yeah, but our ratings have gone up and our viewership has gone up. We've got a whole new demographic. Like, I feel like it would work in real life, honestly. If you just added booze and cheering to golf, I feel like you get a lot more people.
Let's talk about Happy's character.
Okay.
because I like Happy Gilmore, but I heard a kid in the theater say when we went that he didn't. He thought he was an asshole. So, what do you think?
Relatable asshole.
I
And honestly, I don't even think he really is an asshole. Like, he seems like a pretty nice guy for the most part. Like, he feels like one of those, like, straight up guys. Like, Shooter McGavin feels like he's, that stuck up rich guy that's like scheming. Like, he's trying to get what he wants, and he's got his plots and his plans and everything, right? And like, it feels very insincere. Like, even at the beginning, when they're all congratulating, oh, congratulations, I heard about that par four or that hole in one on a par four and everything. And, oh, it was amazing. And it's like, that's not sincere, right? But like, Happy's like, oh, thank you. Like, obviously, he thinks, like, he's sincere. Like, he just feels like a very down to earth, sincere guy, right? So I would say, yeah, I like his character. Like,
so,
if you saw him on the street, and you met him, I'd say so. I'd hang out and have a drink with him.
right. Well, I did digging online, and I found out that there's a lot of people who don't like this movie and don't like Happy Gilmore himself because that they feel he's too vulgar and it's too bad of a temper tantrum to be a relatable character. And I disagree. I very much disagree because I think, especially, he's very selfless.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
he gives up his dream of hockey. He doesn't really give it up. He doesn't want to give it up, but he does give up his main dream of hockey for at least a while to play golf just for his grandma.
Yeah.
He changes his entire life. What he's been doing, what he said he was put on the planet to be born to do, he gave it up in an instant just to make enough money for his grandma to live in the house his grandfather built. So I would say he might have a bad temper. He might be vulgar. He might not be relatable to a lot of people because of that. But I would say overall, as a character and as like a main character you want to be likable, it's very remarkable that he can just give up all of that just because he wants his grandma to be happy. And his grandma's like, oh, you don't have to do all that for me. But he was like, yes, I do.
yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? That's what I think a good main character or hero should be, where even though other people in the world might see him as more of a villain or a menace to hockey, or to golf, sorry, he's just a genuine guy who's just trying to make a buck for his grandma. And yeah, he's not living life lavishly or anything like that. He likes his Subway, he likes his golf and his hockey, and
I would
cares.
challenge any of the people that go on and on about how it's disgrace and it's too vulgar and everything. What are you like behind closed doors with your buddies? Except that he's just open enough to be that way with,
That's an interesting perspective.
Because I mean, like, a lot of people, not everybody, obviously, but I feel like a majority of people. So you're hanging out with your buddies, or whatever. I feel like a lot of people, there's a fair bit of swearing and
Sure.
and things that you might not say in public otherwise, right? Like, I feel like there's a lot of that, and so because somebody else is a little more open about it, there's a problem there. I don't know.
Yeah, and we should also mention throughout the film, Happy goes to his happy place where it's like his daydream where he can get in the right mindset, and it's these funny scenarios, and all of them his grandma's winning huge
Yes,
sums
I
of
love
cash
that.
on like a slot machine. And
Yes.
so I think that's also really funny is how the whole plot of getting the money for his grandma also ends up with his grandma just being like a lottery winner in all of his daydreams, and I think that's hilarious.
Even the one where shooters in it ruining everything, she's still winning. He's just taking the winnings, but she's still winning.
yeah, that's one of the things. I was gonna say, that seems interesting. I was gonna say Shooter. Shooter feels like a bad guy. I said he kind of has like a hittable face. He makes
very hittable personality.
He makes you upset. Yeah. Christopher McDonald killed it. And honestly, it's just a great performance. He almost didn't do it. And then he played an actual good round of golf apparently. And he decided, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pull the trigger, and called his agent or whatever, and was like, hey, do you still have that golf movie? And they said, yeah. So
do you know who they had lined up to do it if he didn't?
I forget.
Okay. I've just been curious to see who it would have been.
Yeah.
It's always curious when you hear like, oh, so-and-so almost didn't do the role. And it's like, I can't imagine anybody else. Like,
right. No, exactly. He killed it. And I think between the stuff he pulls in the film and just how he talks to Happy, he just does a very solid job. Like
A few moments later.
Sorry about that. Maggie was having a yelling match with the neighbor.
Yeah. Very friendly, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just think his character feels very not relatable, but just like feels like a villain.
Yeah.
Dare I say one of the best movie villains of all time?
I wouldn't go that far. He's a pretty stereotypical movie villain, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think he did a great job.
Yeah, for sure. He did a great job, for sure.
I wanted to talk about the filmmaking of the golf balls flying because it's something that I wouldn't do personally, but it works. You know how like he'll hit the golf ball and it won't be the golf ball flying.
Oh, it's the
but it'll be
camera.
the camera.
It's just a
flying
sped up shot. Yeah.
backwards with the sound effect. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's a neat way of doing it. And I can see why they would have done it because, like, on a low budget, you just fly a camera like that and then speed it up.
Right.
It's a really clever way of doing it low budget. Like,
You don't need any CGI. You can add a bit of camera shake and whatnot in post, and you can get a shot of it landing, but you don't have to worry about CGI and a ball going on a perfect spin throughout the entire course. And
yeah.
it is a really creative way to do it. And so while I would like what I'd say if it was done incorrectly, it would very much take you out of the film. But I was sitting in the theater and I was like, huh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
And obviously this is the first time I've seen it, so I've thought about that before. But it is just an interesting thing to talk about and touch up on.
Yeah.
62% on Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think about that?
That's audience or?
Yeah. What do you think
I'm
about
surprised.
that? I am surprised too.
Like, it seems like most people you talk to have enjoyed it, at least. Like,
everyone I know loves it. This is one of the best
that's
comedies of all
the
time.
thing is, like I said, I've always heard that it was a fantastic movie, and then I was reading up, like preparing and whatnot, and all these, like, all the articles and critic reviews and everything was, you know, it's just a poorly written, bad movie. It's for 13-year-olds, and it's like, it's not meant to be super serious.
It's a comedy.
Yeah, like
It's a comedy. It's like I don't get that. It's like the people who go into it with like the mentality of like they just watched Fight Club. You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
We've talked about this expectations. You know, you know what to expect. If you go to a Marvel movie, you know what to expect. If you go to what's his face?
Jason Statham,
Jason Statham movie.
Dwayne
Like,
Johnson.
you know, like you know what to expect with these people.
They don't have to be typecast, but you know
yeah.
generally if it's in that genre
Yeah.
with that person.
You go to an Adam
can expect
Sandler
it,
movie,
yeah.
you know it's gonna be some goofy kind of crappy comedy. Like it's not like
Well, Adam
crappy
Sandler has proved that he can do really good
True,
jobs in
true,
drama and
yes.
stuff, but it's just like generally it's pretty easy to tell when you see a movie and its marketing whether or not it's gonna be the film that's like, you know, the new A24 Oscar winner.
Yeah.
Or the
Fun movie that you love to watch years and years.
Comedy movie.
Yeah.
And it's not saying one is better or worse than the other, but it's an observation. And I think if you watch enough movies, you can kind of make that dissertation in your own brain, at least, to like what you're going to see, right? And like I said, the actors don't need to be typecast and stuff like that. You know, Adam Sandler, most people see him as a comedian, but he can do a great job doing dramas. But it's just like, for the most part, 90% of the time, that's what you're going to be getting.
Yep.
And you know, the second when you watch the trailer, whether it's going to be a comedy or a drama, you don't watch, you know, the Joker Part 2 trailer came out today, for example. I didn't watch that trailer and was like, oh man,
It's gonna be a comedy.
I can't wait to go watch that comedy.
Yeah.
I hope it's as funny as Deadpool 3. you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No, you go into it knowing, oh, this is gonna be some edgy shit.
Yeah,
Like,
this is gonna be edgy. It's borderline a thriller, maybe.
Yeah.
Even, and it's gonna be like something really dark.
Yeah.
Essentially, you can kind of tell that stuff. So yeah, going in with the expectation versus your reality of it. You know, I think. And that's not to say that when you go to the movie theater you should have a low expectation, because that's not it at all. Hi Maggie.
Hi
I know.
Maggie.
That's not it at all. You should have high expectations for what the movie is, but you shouldn't be confused at the movie you're going to see, because generally it's pretty in front of you. It's so hard to stay focused. I hope maybe that plot will make sense of what I said, and maybe it won't. Hi Maggie.
Hi Maggie.
Moving on. You want to talk about the theater?
I just want to go back to that for a second. When like I feel like that's one thing, like, you know, you're talking about like the critics, I feel like don't understand exactly what we're talking about. I feel like for some reason it, like, maybe it's because that's kind of their job, but they go into all these movies with such high serious expectations, ready to just slam it over the coals. But you have to remember that it's entertainment, right? And so it might not be the most beautifully cinematically colored, beautifully scored film, because there've been lots of those where they're like so cinematically intense and everything, and they flop because they're poor writing or something, right? If it's a good story, sometimes you don't need to worry as much about the actual, like, film techniques of it, right? And the same thing goes where if it's really, really, it's okay, Maggie, it's okay.
Gary's outside.
A few moments later.
I think you make a good point on that because it brings up the topic of catering to a specific audience, as opposed to a larger group of people. When you make a synopsis and you like apply for your funding or doing whatever, you can't say my movie's for everyone, right? There has to be a specific group of people that your movie is better towards to make it, more marketable. Essentially, you can't be everyone's favorite, right? I wouldn't say this movie's dedicated to golf fans.
No, it makes fun of golf fans.
Yeah, like if anything, it's like more of a.
That's why probably all the golf people hate it.
Yeah. You can say it caters to Adam Sandler fans. You can say like people who love comedies. What else here? Like, is there an age demographic? Do you think?
Well, I mean, like everybody says, like as I was saying, everybody's like, oh, this is for 13-year-olds, and it's like, I mean, why does that, like? I don't think it should apply, right? Like, I mean, I know so many adults who are like, "Oh, I love that movie. It's, it's so much fun to watch," because sometimes it feels good to go back to like that kid humor, like when they're like potty humor. I'm sorry, lots of people still laugh at toilet jokes. They're just funny. Like it feels good to go back to being a kid, sort of, like, and so all these people, fart jokes and air horns, like,
No, I think you're right. I think that's part of the reason why Pixar films are successful.
Yeah,
example,
like
there's a kid in everyone.
Like, I mean, look at them. Like, take the Minions, right?
Sure.
Kids love that. It's a funny little yellow guy who can take all kinds of beatings and he does funny things, right? But then as an adult or an older person, right? You watch that and it's still hilarious.
You said to me in the theater last night, you looked over to me and said, "Oh, we got to do Despicable Me."
Yeah, because there was
You're 19 years old.
There was a
18 years old. 18 years old. My bad.
Because there was an ad for it like in the pre-show, and it's like, it's such a fun movie, right?
Exactly. No, it makes sense. So that's the point. Catering to a specific audience as opposed to a large group of people. Every movie is not going to be for everyone. It can't be. But finding the niche, finding what works for your film and what doesn't, and really what you like to watch, right? Yeah. Is there anything else? We got golf balls flying. Why don't you talk about the Roxy experience?
Oh yeah.
And You're Gonna Die Clown. And then we'll give it a rating out of 10 and we'll be done.
Yeah, obviously, thank you to Coliseum and the whole crew over there. It's a fantastic opportunity to go and see movies like this. Like we said, we weren't alive for any of these movies, and yet we've seen 2 of them in the theater now. It's awesome. So if you want to check it out, hit up coliseumpresents.ca, I think it is. It's written down somewhere, coliseumpresents.ca. And
it's really awesome because every time you go see a movie there, your ticket actually gets you a bunch of cool deals and other stuff, and
Yes.
you can enter ballots once you purchase a ticket and stuff to go see more movies for free.
Free tickets. Yep.
So the next one is The Wizard of Oz, August 9th. August 9th. And it's going to be great. We'll see you there for sure.
Yes. I'll be there.
And actually, this will probably be out after August 9th. So
Yeah.
we would have
Unfortunately.
seen you there.
Seen you there.
And yeah, it was a great theater experience. There was good atmosphere. And
The Roxy is always nice to be in. It's such a great theater.
yeah, for sure.
It's just. Yeah, it's just awesome.
yeah, that's sorry. I said that way too loud. Sorry.
Fine,
It was
it's fine. It's fine.
I would say there was a lot more kids there than I expected.
Yeah, there was like a lot of young people.
And I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
And your classic.
The popcorn was pretty good too.
There we go.
Yeah,
Let's spoon feed that one to you.
like you did in the theater last night. No, yeah, there's a lot of kids there who all knew how to quote the movie too, which I thought was
Yeah, you said
fascinating.
wasn't there one behind us that was quoting the movie as we were going?
Yeah, he said that this like it must have been this like 11-year-old kid, and like 30 seconds before it happened, he said the quote, "You jackass."
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And that's, I can't decide if that's great parenting or poor parenting, but I enjoyed it. And you know what? I think just like as a comedy movie, what a great movie to watch in theaters.
Yeah.
Just like with an environment. I think all comedy movies, I think movies as a whole are actually like the best experience is going opening night when the theater is packed and everyone's having a cool reaction, right?
Well, that's the thing, especially with comedies. Like, you go in and there's a joke and people start laughing, and then that makes you laugh even harder.
Yeah.
Like listening to people laugh, and it's a social thing a lot of the time.
So I'm happy we can go opening night 28 years later. And yeah, no, it's just a great environment to watch movies, and I think that community to me is what has drawn me into filmmaking so much and doing this show is just because I think there's a lot to learn from that kind of group atmosphere.
Yeah.
Obviously, these are all people, complete strangers in a room, but you're sharing in an experience from the moment the lights go down to the moment they come back on. And so I definitely think that that's something to be appreciated.
Yeah,
So thank you again to Coliseum Presents. It was an incredible event, and we're excited for the next one.
Yes.
You want to rate it at 10? Oh, You're Gonna Die, Clown. Do you remember what I'm talking about with that?
No.
While Aaron from Coliseum Presents was presenting
Oh,
the
yes.
film to us, a lady shouted, "You're gonna die, clown!" which is obviously a quote from the movie when Adam Sandler destroys a clown. And the whole time I was thinking of, what if everyone in the audience hadn't seen this movie and knew that quote?
Yeah.
And now the whole audience thinks that this lady's about to kill Aaron. And I was like, I don't know how this is gonna shake up, but obviously it was fine. It was all good. No one was hurt.
So shout out to whoever did that. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was funny. I have a huge memory with that line actually. When my brother and I first watched it, I think it was at the cabin, and when he kills the clown, like rips off its nose and whatever, it was so funny to my brother that he probably didn't stop laughing for 30 minutes. And it was probably one of my favorite memories with my brother because he just thought it was just so hilarious.
Yeah.
And yeah, so shout out to Kale. That was a great moment for me, and I still remember that. What would you rate it out of 10?
I've been thinking about this. I'm going to give it a straight 9. No points.
Straight 9.
Just a 9.0.
Wow. Really?
I haven't quite laughed at a movie like that since Super Dave.
Wow. Okay, this is one of my favorite comedy movies of all time. 9, hey?
Yeah.
Wow. I was gonna give it an 8.5. A 9. You really went for the 9, hey?
Well, I'm going based off on enjoyment, because this is we were talking about with expectations, right? So with a movie like Fight Club, I was also analyzing the cinematics of it, right? Because I feel like that's important in a movie like that.
Sure.
And there's a lot of it, and they do a lot of those details. But with a movie like this, as I was saying, it's not as important. And so I'm just going based off enjoyment, because that's what the intention of this movie is enjoyment, right? It's supposed to be check your brain and have some laughs. And so I had a lot of laughs. I was laughing the whole time, and it was a fun movie. So yeah.
Wow. I actually 100% agree with you. I just thought you were going to give it like an 8 or something, or like a 7, and I'd have higher because this is one of my favorite comedy movies of all time.
I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna watch it again.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I love this movie. Tuesday's Gone. You're going to listen to that on the drive home now because I love the song. Any other thoughts for today?
No, you need your rating though for sure.
Sorry?
What's your locked in rating? I didn't get that.
8.5. 8.5 is my
Okay,
locked
good.
in rating. Yeah.
Good.
Any other thoughts?
No, that's everything.
That's everything. Okay, well, thanks for watching The Viewing Room. I'm Ethan,
I'm Adam.
and we just reviewed Happy Gilmore. So if you like our stuff, go check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and
Everywhere else you find your podcasts.
yeah. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a happy day.
Jackass.